Just in case you didn't know, a new Las Vegas police team is looking into Tupac Shakur's death again. The news even reported that new updates are happening in Tupac's murder case. Rappers in the industry like Snoop Dogg, Suge Knight, and Diddy are all about to be arrested and questioned, as fans believe that Snoop is responsible for Tupac's death after new evidence was found. It begins with this interview making the feds wonder about Snoop's involvement.
Tupac, though, in regards to Tupac, I heard a story, did you give him different advice that night on where to go?
I didn't give him no advice.
Right.
We wasn't seeing eye to eye.
Right.
So.
Saying during the Tyson.
Yeah, this incident that I'm explaining to you right now was the day before that.
Okay.
So when they got to Vegas, they went their way, I went back. I mean, when we got to LA, they went to Vegas and I went home. That's why I wasn't in the car with them.
According to Snoop Dogg, he was meant to be in the BMW with Tupac and Suge Knight, but he decided not to go due to last-minute adjustments, was probably because Snoop, Tupac, and Suge Knight had a fight the day before.
Last time me and Tupac was on the same page, and I did an interview with Angie Martinez, and she asked me how did I feel about Puffy and Biggie, and I told her that I like their music and I want to do music with them. Bro didn't like that, Tupac didn't like that, so we had a misunderstanding. So on the flight back to LA, I didn't feel comfortable around them for what they had did, as far as I didn't let my security ride with me. So to protect myself and to prevent from happening, I slept under a blanket with the knife and the fork just in case something was to go wrong, but it didn't.
Given that all of this happened within 48 hours of Tupac's murder, the police are extremely suspicious that Snoop may have received a tip 2 decades ago. Many people theorize that Snoop Dogg may have received a tip that Tupac was going to be targeted tonight, so he chose not to get into that car. The feds then discovered another interview from Snoop in which he stated that he felt hateful toward Tupac 2 days prior to his death.
We was best of friends. 2 days before I don't think he liked me.
Why?
Because we was in New York.
Oh, yeah.
And it happened. New York, they shot at me and did all kind of shit to me, like just the worst you could think of. And I forgave him. And went and did an interview and was asked, how do I feel about Puffy and Biggie? And I was like, I want to do some music with them. And I just rubbed Cuz the wrong way, like tried to me out at you, and you talking about you want to do a song with it. I wasn't thinking about his emotions. I was thinking about the way I felt at the time. I wasn't into no controversy. I liked his music. They was our friends. We was all friends at one point. This video footage of all of us.
Snoop Dogg learned of Tupac Shakur's purported Fed status through a viral thread that had all of this information. According to an officer's interview, Tupac was an industry plant who worked to quell the rivalry between the Red and Blue Street teams.
It turns out when I talked to Tupac's longtime mentor, political mentor, former Black Panther Chokwe Lumumba, who was his first business manager, he's told me, I basically asked, well, was Tupac only pretending to be in order to appeal to gangs and politicize them? And he said yes. And that was part of his thug life agenda that he came up with his imprisoned stepfather, Mutulu Shakur. And so Tupac was just using that in order to get the leaders to call peace truces, first in Los Angeles, then throughout California, and then throughout the country. And that was why he was pretending to be this gangster type. And really, he was just an intellectual prodigy.
Obviously, the plan didn't work out, which is why Snoop wouldn't want to be close to Tupac in Las Vegas if he found out that he was a Fed. However, after reading the evidence they found, those looking into Tupac's murder also came up with an intriguing theory that he is still alive. In 2010, for example, Trey revealed in an interview that he and Tupac were very close friends back in the day, and even collaborated on a few asking Trey about Tupac, to which Trey replies, "Last time I saw him, he was in Cuba."
Ready for it? Get on the sidewalk.
Earl. One last question.
Nobody knows.
Y'all good? Yeah, we good. Thanks a lot, man. We good.
Last time I saw him, he was in the trap.
Then, abruptly, 2 weeks later, a video purportedly showing Tupac relaxing in a Cuban parking lot will be posted on a news website.
That's Pac, man.
outlaw, and Reg from Holla Back is trying to be friendly and get autographed. Holla Back exclusive, baby.
In case you were unaware, that is what gave rise to the Tupac is alive in Cuba theory, which has been the most widely accepted theory ever since. However, in 2025, it no longer seems to be a theory because Suge Knight concurs that Tupac is still alive and has stated as much in numerous interviews over the past 20 years. In one interview in particular, he states that Tupac was reportedly doing well in the hospital prior to his death, saying, quote,
I left that hospital, me and Pac was laughing and joking. So I don't see how somebody can turn from doing well to doing bad.
So you seriously think that he might still be alive?
I would say this, Pac, you never know.
However, the strange thing about this is that, according to police records, Tupac was allegedly in a coma when he arrived at the hospital. How could he and Suge be laughing if Tupac was unconscious? However, 10 years ago, in an interview with Suge Knight, he stated the exact same thing. Tupac is alive and doing well.
He was conscious on the way to the hospital.
He was conscious on the way to the hospital. He was conscious in the ambulance. He was conscious after they did the surgery.
What was the last thing that he said to you?
Since Tupac seemed to have died, Suge Knight has maintained the belief that he is still alive. However, what's frightening is that following the 2008 interview in which Suge revealed that knowledge, he nearly killed himself at a nightclub when a man pointed a gun at him. 6 times, Suge Knight was reluctant to tell the police anything. He knew right away that it was because he had mentioned Tupac in a public interview, but this is where things get crazy. In 2018, Suge Jr. made the same mistake by posting on Instagram that Tupac was still alive and living in Malaysia. After posting that, he then shared another picture of a text exchange in which someone had told him, "You've said too much. It's now time for you to go." At this point, Suge Jr. would start posting pictures of Tupac with contemporary celebrities like 50 Cent and Beyoncé in a panic, giving the impression that he was being pursued for disclosing all of this information. He captioned the picture of Tupac and Beyoncé saying, "He never left us, but they'll be after me soon." When you compare all of that to the police records of Tupac's death, you'll start to see the gaps in the story. On September 7, 1996, Tupac was in Las Vegas with the head of his record label, Suge Knight, to watch a Mike Tyson match. After the event was over, they noticed an OP in the hotel lobby. Some people think it was a publicity stunt for Suge Jr. to gain social media clout, while others think it was true and that Suge Jr. would know more about the case than anyone else in the world, because his father was at the scene of the crime.
Knight and their entourage went to the Mike Tyson at the MGM Grand. Keefe D and his nephew, Orlando Lane Anderson, and 2 of their friends were also there. Keefe D told LAPD Detective Greg Kading more than a decade ago, in a proffer that couldn't be used against him, the shooting was retaliation after Tupac jumped Orlando and beat him up at the casino. Surveillance cameras recorded the fight. Tupac was angry that Lane had stolen his necklace years prior in Compton. Tupac, Suge Knight, and the entourage left the casino quickly.
At around 11:00 p.m., security would break up the fight between Tupac Suge and the ops, forcing Tupac and Suge to return to their hotel to change before heading to a club to party the night away. They got into their black BMW, turned it on, and drove down Las Vegas, stopping at a red light en route to the club. As they were driving there, a car would pull up next to them at the light and start talking.
Concert at the Club 662. Members, including Orlando and Keefe D, jumped in their white Cadillac and started cruising the strip looking for the offender. Before long, they finally spotted Tupac's caravan. At the intersection of East Flamingo Boulevard and Koval Lane, the white Cadillac pulled alongside the black BMW with Suge on the driver and Tupac on the passenger seats. The back window of the Cadillac rolled twice in the chest, once in the arm, once in...
For 14 years, the incident's aftermath remained a mystery. That is, until the police began to reopen the case and discovered an insightful interview by a man named KD on DJ Vlad's show. The interview starts with Keefe D describing how he found Tupac and literally pulled up on him with guns.
Bubble Up was the driver, and Baby Lane and Freaky were in the back seat. We was just all in the car together. Just say that.
This was the white Cadillac.
Yeah.
So you guys are driving around, and then you hear these girls say, "Tupac, Tupac."
Got to the light. We was gonna go drink, and he happened to be hanging out the window. He was hanging out the window like he was in a parade.
Tupac.
Yeah, he was.
So what happens next? You said that as you're driving up towards the BMW, with Suge driving and Tupac in the passenger seat.
But it was at this very point when Keffe D disclosed that Tupac was the only one targeted in the incident, since he started grabbing for a gun while the opposing car was halted at that red light.
As you're driving up towards the BMW, with Suge driving and Tupac in the passenger seat, and you said that Tupac pulled out a...
It looked like he was reaching, yeah. Yeah, it did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you actually...
No, once he got the reaching, I got the ducking.
So someone from your car started at Tupac and Suge.
This indicates that Tupac knew something was going to happen in the street, because many people weren't sure if Keffe D was telling the truth. As a result, he would share a video confirming his own police interrogation on the night of the crime, which had never been seen before.
You say Suge looks over, he sees you. He looks right at you?
Yeah, he looks at me.
Okay. When he looks over at you, and then, Tupac's busy getting evidently, the story is Tupac's trying to either get out of the
back seat or something.
Yeah, what do you see happening inside of their car?
I seen him going Suge head. I thought he was.
So Orlando across Dre?
He leaned over on the window, we rolled down the window.
Indeed, the police would eventually include Keffe D's response to Tupac's death in the court documents, revealing his genuine feelings.
I hate that happened, dog. I really do, man. Because it a lot of people's lives, dude. I hate that happen. Probably to God. I feel that was wrong, man. It was just purely wrong. You know what I'm saying? I wish it had never happened. You know what I'm saying? That's my opinion on it. Wish it never happened, dude.
This is where things start to become really strange, since it will eventually be disclosed. In his book, Compton Street Legend, Keffe D discusses his involvement in Tupac's death. He literally alludes to committing the crime and knowing those responsible, but why is he now only being arrested for it after 10 years? Fans think it's a cover-up that Tupac is still alive because of all the evidence in this video, and they're getting too close to solving the mystery, so locking up an elderly man for the crime will slow down the news. Keep in mind that it's Hollywood, so who knows what goes on behind closed doors.